So starting with the one I know best is Mozilla Hubs. So Mozilla Hubs is in transition at the moment. It was free before, and now it's moving to a paid model. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come into one of the ones that I have bookmarked from before. So I have one here that I created as a workshop space for Edouard's course. So this is probably the most developed one. I created a bit of a training room before, but I don't think people probably need to do the training room, because anytime you join, it will give you, first of all, it gives you this option to change your name. So I highly recommend changing that to something people will recognize, your actual name. You can change your avatar. Now, I had created this avatar in Ready Player Me. I can change to that, and I've exported that as a GLB and put that in. So this is a room that I've created in Mozilla Hubs. Actually, I'm going to change my avatar because this will give you you can see my fringe the whole time, and I think it will be annoying. So I'll just change my avatar there. So you can see it's pretty simple to use. I'm just moving around using my WASD keys, W forward, A, S, and D. I can also use my arrow keys as well if that's easier, but I tend to want to move with my right hand, move my view with my right hand, and then move my avatar with my left hand. So this is a 3D model that some artists and some musicians in Colombia had scanned for us. This is a drum that they had made out of recycled materials. So you can see that we have the drum here. We have some tutorials on YouTube here, so I can play that. Now, I had separated these tutorials up into smaller chunks because the performance was suffering if we were playing, 5 to 8 minute videos. So I was separating them into kind of 2 to 3 minute chunks, and that did seem to help with performance somewhat, but usually we'll get a broken link as well. So I'll see if we can find any there. That's another 3D object we had uploaded. So that's a guitar made with hubcaps. And again, something that the artist scanned for us. And then we upload it into this environment. Again, the environment will complain that that's too many polygons, that's too high a quality image, and it complains about these textures on the wall as well. But so far, we haven't really had much problem accessing it, even though it says that the performance will be low. If I press G, that toggles fly mode, so I'm going to fly up here. So, see, we do get a broken link here. This is a problem. There is a known issue with YouTube. Often I can open that separately in a window. This one will play okay. That's the tutorial video. Let's see. It will let me play it in a separate window, but if we want to play it all together, then yeah, sometimes we run into issues with those YouTube links. That's kind of one of my main pet peeves with Mozilla Hubs, I guess. So this is the 3D model of the instrument they're creating here. We have one more 3D model and a couple more videos out here on the terrace. You can see we have our nice 360 photo in the background. That's of Queens, just by the old Maths and Physics building. Here's a pipe that has been created from a bit of old PVC and modeling clay. The man here is teaching me how to make that. Then we also wanted to have a video showing the band playing these instruments, so we had placed that video down here at the end of the balcony, and this is our place to congregate. So you can play that video there, or you can open the link and play it in another tab if that works better. Again, depending on the device you're joining with, that may be easier. I'll not play the video for you now because it'll be a bit longer, but just want to let you see, maybe fly up here so you can see the overall, what it looks like. So again, we're just in a 360 photograph in a dome. This is what the room looks like from above. Lots of photographs. We did have to take some out. We had a few more, but it did complain that the performance was suffering because there was too much. So people were having trouble loading it. We have a few more photographs in a sort of gallery back here. This is essentially just like an art gallery, which you see a lot of people are using the Metaverse for. I'll turn fly mode off and just have a walk through here. The photographs seem to load okay. It's just YouTube videos like the ones above that don't work. So these are some of the escalators in this area of Medellin in Colombia. So that are kind of well known. And these murals are from the same area, the ones like, for example, this elephant one here. So this area, this whole environment is one that I built. I had remixed it originally from someone else's design, and then I built another bit onto it. So it's very easy to build online in Hubs and an editor called Spoke. You can also import Blender models, but there's a lot of complicated light mapping that has to happen, and it doesn't really help you a lot. You have to know exactly what you're doing. Same with 3D models. It doesn't really optimize these 3D models for you. It just complains about the size. So you have to decimate this all in your own time in Blender and another 3D modeling program. So that's Hubs.
Right. So this is a 3D space that I've created in Hubs. So this is to help us with our Green Fund project. This is actually, if you've been to the faculty office much, then you may recognize it. This is the garden at the back of the faculty office where we're doing some bits and pieces for the Green Fund. So you can see the 3D modeling was just done with an iPad. So it has its limitations here. It doesn't really understand the staircase and stuff, but you can see how this was very, very light touch. It's very, very easy to do, and it's quite useful in that we can kind of walk around the garden. We can, and actually what I can do is grab a pen and make 3D suggestions in the garden. So I can say, okay, we want to have an archway here. I can come over here and draw it where I want it to be. It's a bit rough, but we can see, okay, that's where I want the archway to be, and we can look at it in 3D space. So, you can see how that could be interesting and, mark it up in other ways. Grab my pen here again. You say if we wanted the seating or the table to go here, we could sort of draw that, draw the table in. And, it's not foolproof. It really isn't, but, it gives you an idea. Okay, I want the table here, I want the arch there. So, you can mark up your three-dimensional space. It's sort of interesting. Again, you can see me here standing with the iPad. So it was, it took, a few minutes to do, and it's very easy. So you can see the benefit maybe of that. So I'll take you into another space that was created in Hubs, and you can see the difference. This probably looked pretty familiar to you. This is our Mozilla Hub that we had before. This is just me entering in VR. So you'll see I have my two hands that I can move independently because I have controllers. I can even move my fingers, and it just, based on the controllers. I can actually, the problem with Mozilla Hubs is if you move too quickly, it can make you quite motion sick, and I would be a bit prone to it. So I'll try not to move too quickly, but you can see the space looks very similar, but you get a better sense of the scale when it's your own, it's right there next to your eyes. So I can come out here to the terrace, and you can see we do have some broken media links still. Like I said, that's a kind of recurring problem. The problem is these 3D objects exist, but I can't manipulate them. They sort of, they're there, but I can't do I can't scale them. I can't manipulate them. So that's something that you'll see in other programs. It will let you manipulate that. So again, worth mentioning, I have the pen. I can draw in three-dimensional space. I can draw on objects as well. So that's always worth doing, worth mentioning. But yeah, so that's Hubs and 3 dimensions.
Okay, here I am in Somnium space. I'm just going to visit a few popular parcels. I haven't built anything myself in Somnium space, so I'm just going to have a look at, it looks like an art gallery here. These are ones that just anyone can jump into, so I'll join as a guest here. This avatar I've created in Ready Player Me, so this is one you'll see kind of walking through a lot of different spaces. So it says I am entering a gallery. So, okay, so it looks like you can do kind of text things. The Somnium space gives you this kind of goofy walk. I don't know why, but it does. So I can teleport just using this kind of green button here, so I can look around, have a look at the art. Yeah, the graphics are quite nice. I kind of have a goofy way of standing as well. So the good thing is my controls are pretty simple. I have my chat here. At the moment, my microphone and everything's off. Looks like fly mode's pretty easy, so I can just fly around if I want to turn that on. It's pretty easy. If I press shift, I might be able to fly a bit faster. Yeah. And come have a look at this Star Wars droid over here. So that's what Somnium space looks like. Now, this is Spatial. This is one that I really like. It's probably my favorite of the lot. So I'm going to take you, it gives you a home environment to start with. So when you come in with a VR headset, that's nice that you're in kind of familiar, small environment. It gives you nice little portals as well, as you can see here. So I've created one space in Spatial, and that was a space I created in Blender that very inexpertly, as you will see. So this is my home space, easy to move around, as you can see. Kind of nice. Again, you'll see my avatar is a Ready Player Me one that I've created outside of Spatial, so it's just been imported in. So that's nice. I'm going to travel to the next space. And that's a space that I've created in Blender. Again, with Spatial, it has a Unity creator that you can download that integrates with Unity. So that's nice, but you can upload Blender spaces as well. So that's good that that's flexible. So I have a couple 3D objects in here. As you can see, I'm moving them about. I was able to actually manipulate those in VR as well, whereas in Hubs, you can manipulate some objects if they're from Sketchfab in VR, but these are ones that I've uploaded myself that I can put on the VR headset and resize with my hands and things. That tree in the background is one that I've uploaded from the Spatial library. I'm having a little issue with this drum here. I can't seem to get it rotated, but that may be in the file itself. So you can see the textures that I've added in Blender. I've actually rendered here nicely. So I've added some of the murals from Colombia, from Medellin into this space. This is meant to look like kind of the favelas in Medellin. So I'm going to walk up here and I'll show you a note that I've created. I just did this in the VR headset. This is the other thing, is you can jump easily. Yeah, so that's a little post-it note I was able to draw with the VR headset and then put it on the wall there. So that's good. So yeah, I like this. It's easy to put. So if you're going into other spaces, you'll see other little teleports going about. You'll see it's very easy to add a portal to, I could put lots of other portals here. These are public spaces or spaces I created by other people, but this space just myself. And I think this is $25 per month. So the price point's pretty good as well. And for each of these spaces, you get 50 people in it. So it's a nice number as well. So yeah, that is what Spatial looks like. Maybe I should go to another space just to show you, since this one is one I've created. It's not very high quality. Let me just see. I'll go into this one. This one looks nice, just to give you an idea of what is possible. So there are going to be some other people in this one. This is going to be a public room, so you'll see other people's avatars kind of floating about. Oh, that's a cool avatar, isn't it? So this looks like a sort of art gallery place, stroke airport. Maybe not the most interesting space that we could have chosen, but you can create whatever space you want in this, really. So it's easy to do, easy enough to do. Maybe not as easy as Mozilla Hubs, but also probably have a wider range of control than you would in Mozilla Hubs. Okay, so like I said, you get all these teleports there. So a lot of times when you're in one room, you can see portals to other rooms. So this is fascinating. Okay, a lot of them are in space. That seems to be the rent advertising slots. Okay, not so much. But yeah, you can jump in this one. That's kind of nice. And you can sometimes fly, I think. Maybe that's the one limitation, is I haven't figured out how to fly yet in this one. But we can walk around, we can chat with each other. So, whoop, down to the next level. So that is Spatial. And that's a nice one. That has its own app in the Meta Quest. So this is Spatial in VR. I'm narrating after the fact because it didn't work when I narrated in the actual VR headset. For some reason, I didn't have the mic enabled. So you notice as you move around, it goes dark around the edges. So that's a feature that Spatial puts into VR, which is actually kind of nice because it means that it reduces your motion sickness. So I did mention in Mozilla, you can sometimes get a little motion sick. It's less likely because it gives you that kind of vignette effect that will stop it making you motion sick. So this is a space, I think, presumably created by a radio station. A couple other people there. So this is, again, a public room. I just want to give you an idea what's possible in Spatial. So it's a nice big room, so it's a big space. They have kind of different avatars, but we're going to leave it now. And I'm going to show you some other bits and pieces in Spatial. So I'm back into my home environment now, which we did see on the computer. But now I'm in VR, so should look pretty similar. I can move around here. That's a post-it note I have created before. So we're going to go into the space that I created. Again, this is the same thing I created in Blender, so I'm just showing it to you in different platforms to give you an idea how it looks different. So again, I created this in Blender really inexpertly, as you can see. But this is a 3D model that I had uploaded that was scanned from Polycam, I believe. But you'll see here I have the option to scale it up using my hands in VR. So, and I can actually move this around as I'm moving. It comes with me if I have it grabbed. So that's nice to be able to do that. I need to lift it up a bit. So I lift that up out of the floor so I can, yeah, it's nice to be able to move that model in VR with my hands in a kind of intuitive way. You can see the textures have rendered nicely from my Blender model. Again, I'm still having that issue with the drum not rotating. I think that's just a technical problem with that particular model. But everything else so far in Spatial has been really nice and really worked really well. But I can, see I can't rotate this in VR, but I can resize it. So what I can also do is create a note. So I'll go into my menu here, create a new note, and I'll show you what that looks like. Because I showed you the after effect last time, but I didn't show you what the process looked like. So this is what it looks like in VR. So you have a post-it note, gives you a pen. You can scribble something, really pearly, as I have here. It's a little bit tricky to do. So, and you can change the thickness of the pen so we can make it nice and chunky if we want to. Draw a smiley face, something like that. And then once I've done drawing my note, I can actually, it's a 3D object then, so I can move it around like I would, resize it, put it anywhere I want to. And then it exists in 3D space in my environment there. And again, I can just walk up the ramp the way I have created it. I do have a little gap at the top here. I'm gonna need to fix that once I have another go at this model in Blender. But so for the moment, just teleport over the wee gap. I should be able to teleport pretty much anywhere inside, so I should be able to go to the top of different objects like this, and now I can see the whole space around me. That's quite a nice view. So yeah, that's Spatial in VR. Okay, so this is framevr.io. This is another kind of one that's independent of any kind of blockchain stuff. So the thing about FrameVR is it gives you these scenes that are kind of small. They're pretty simple. So this one is just this wee room that we're in here and some of the garden. So it depends on how much space you want. I think depending on what level you subscribe to, you get either 25, 50, or 100 people in your frame. So there are probably some that are a bit larger. I don't think I'd want to see 100 people in here. It'd be pretty cramped. So I have added the drum from the last one. The good thing about FrameVR is it gives you this spin option, so I can have it kind of spinning nicely. Also, I can add it when I'm in the frame. It gives me edit mode right here. So as I'm going, I can kind of go through and edit move that up and down as I want. It has a snap to floor. That's another thing. It also does optimize your 3D models for you, which is a nice feature. So it doesn't just complain at you if they're too big. It does kind of decimate them for you. So that's nice. I'm going to come out of edit mode now. All your reactions are down here. You can do your emojis like that. It's a little bit more complicated interface. But yeah, it's more built. They've been doing the corporate thing a bit longer, so they know kind of how this works a bit better than Hubs. Hubs are quite new to the paid model. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on fly mode here, and I'll just fly up so you can get an overview of what this scene looks like. So as I look down, so essentially your walkable area is only inside that little building and then this garden here. You can't even go back amongst the bushes there. So it is kind of a small scene. I'll show you one of the other ones just to see. Let me go back home here. Join into this. I think it's Event Horizon is the name of this scene. So it's a little bit cooler, maybe a little bit corporate. That's a 3D object they have there. It does have these little breakout rooms, which is nice. The kind of, again, this is spatial audio, so if I'm in here talking to someone, it's very unlikely I would be able to hear you if you're, out down here in this auditorium. They do seem to be very keen on this kind of idea of watching something together, which to me defeats the purpose of the metaverse. Surely the whole point is to talk to each other, not to be all sitting in a room facing the same direction. You can do that in real life, or you can do that in front of a screen easily enough. So here's a more kind of social space. This is maybe good for, a conference or something like that. I'm not sure how useful it'd be for our purposes. I'm kind of tempted to just jump in here. No, it's not going to let me go through the portal. That's just for decoration, apparently. So it does let me go to any kind of recent frames. I'll show you this one as well. So this is a different frame I can go into. Again, they're kind of keen on this facing all the one direction idea, but they do have some breakout areas around the back. Again, the areas are quite simple. There isn't an inbuilt builder in Frame VR, so that's maybe one of the downsides. If you want to build your own space, you have to do it in Blender and import it, or use just one of these preset ones. So that's Frame VR.
Frame VR? So this is a space I've created in Frame. What you can see here is if I push my joystick forward, it allows me to teleport, but I can't just move the way I can in other programs. I have to actually do this kind of teleport thing, so I can only move in a really kind of choppy way. So you'll see it's very similar to Spatial in that it has rendered my textures nicely and from Blender, which I appreciate, but it is limiting in what it will let me do. So I wonder if it will. No. I'm just going to click on my frame here. Let me see if I can go to. I don't have any destinations built into this one. Into this room, but you can see your frame does have some limitations when it comes to using the quest.
Okay, I did want to show you as well, at least give an honorable mention to one called Hiberworld. This is one that's maybe a bit more built for kind of game creation, because this is me creating a world here. It's easy enough to create, but I'm pretty limited in what I can do. So I can do blocks or rocks or trees, things like that. So yeah, or I can load a whole other suite of things to create. So if you're wanting students to create something quickly, I guess this is probably a good one to do. But yeah, it's a little bit maybe childish for what we're looking at doing. When I went in here yesterday, I just got stuck playing video games, which I'm horrible at, so it was a bit of a frustrating time for me. But it's not a bad wee tool. It's a nice wee metaverse. You know, if you did want to create an environment quickly, this is all just done in the browser. So I mean, you can color things up, you can add different textures to things. So I mean, you could get quite creative with it if you wanted to. But maybe it's better to just show you some of the worlds that have already been created. But you'll see a lot of them are either games or kind of hangout places. So I think this is probably one of the hangout places. I think I opted not to do any more games. This is another one where you can change your avatar if you want. Let's be done for some reason. So yeah, you can hang around here. There are other people here. So that there's that. Okay, we can make some s'mores. There's some interesting objects. But again, yeah, it has a sort of gamified feel about it. Someone's created a nice tree house there. If we could figure out how to get up there, I'm sure it would be interesting. Not under the water. So yeah, it is kind of easy to get stuck as well in Hiberworld. So yeah, it's one of those. I can hit respawn and start again. But yeah, so Hiberworld, interesting, but probably a bit childish, not exactly what we're aiming for, probably. And we want a little bit more creativity and ability to create a space. This one, you're kind of starting with a bunch of templates. So possibly good for student projects, but probably not ideal for an educational space. Okay, so another one to mention would be VR chat. That's a really popular. It's really a popular game at the moment, but we could think about using it for education as well. So this is what the interface looks like. It's maybe when you come in, it's a little more complicated than most. I haven't got any worlds myself created. I'm not exactly sure how to create them, to be honest. But if I go home, we can have a look at some of the other worlds that... so this is my problem, is when I launch the world, it doesn't do anything for me. So I may be having some technical issues with VR chat, and it does seem to be more PC based than because I'm on a Mac, it doesn't run so well for me. But it's something I'll explore in the VR. I do have the app on the VR headset, so I'll check that out and I'll do a video that way.
So it's quite different experience from joining on your browser. So this is my home space. Yeah, interesting. I can change my avatar here. At the moment, I'm kind of some fox bulldog. Don't know what I am, but there I am. So it'll give you different things, different bits and pieces. You can go into different worlds. The bird sanctuary is quite cool. Yeah, I'll go in there. That's an interesting one. You can feed the ducks and things. That's just an example of a space. So I assume all these spaces are probably created in Unity. So whether they're designed for PC or Quest, it's probably something to do with that being the target market. But something we can look into a bit further if we want to go down this route. But just give you an idea what it looks like. Gonna go over here and feed the duck.
What's up? Hi. Ow,
Hi.
Oh, hi. Oh, wait, give me a second. Let me unmute you. Wait. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, no. You do not have
Oh, so the duck is eating the pear. Okay.